Good morning, everyone. It's Andrew Ross from Chat Media here in lovely uptown Sudbury, Ontario. We have a special session for you today as part of the Great Canadian Aftermarket Trade Show. Steve Van Kessel, who grew up in this business, as a son of Peter at Parry Automotive in Aurelia, has been kind of a colleague through industry of mine for some time. But it may have come as a surprise to some who knew him for a while about his musical involvements. Now, I'll just kind of jump right into it here because one of the things that we've talked about on a few occasions is how his involvement in the automotive aftermarket through Parry Automotive, as well as his musical and musical business involvements, tend to fuel each other. So good morning. I see you have a guest with you.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having us today. This is my wife, Marnie Van Kessel. I think many in the industry know Marnie from years and years of being at many of the events that we always attend. And Marnie and I perform as a duo when we perform in the music world. So I just thought it'd be great to have Marnie join us today.
Sure. So tell me a little bit, just first, so folks who don't know yourself and the Van Kessel family and Parry, tell us a little bit about that business first.
Yeah, Parry Automotive is 73 years of history now. We're in our 73rd year. We started in 1948. We're an automotive parts distributorship, and we are fairly diversified. We deal with automotive, agricultural, marine, industrial, kind of a little bit of everything. And I'm second generation. My sister, Sue Peacock, and I went through a successful succession plan and bought out our father a number of years ago, and I've carried on the tradition of the family business.
Sure. So just to have a kind of little image up here from the outside, it's a beautiful looking operation. And of course, nothing would be complete without a picture of Peter with the collectible truck there. Peter is quite a character himself. And years ago was featured by one of the computer suppliers in their advertising as the captain. Is he still the captain?
No, he transformed from captain many years ago to motorcycle rider, and since then now he's in full retirement, but enjoying his days immensely. He's doing really well. His health is great. It's kind of funny. I mean, he's been an incredible inspiration to me and mentor to me through my entire career, my entire life, obviously. But I think what we're talking about today, with balance and with having a passion, he really fueled my perspective and my focus on that. Because I mean, that's so funny. In 1980, I think it was Triad back then, which is now Epicor. They did that feature on him as the captain of his ship. He had a boat. He was very involved in boating. So that was the passion that fueled him to keep balance in his life.
Sure. So you come by this honestly, in a way, but there's a lot of people in the aftermarket have a passion for different things, whether it stays automotive and they have their collector cars, or they have other musical or other kinds of passions, but often they carry those through, and they're very much left kind of as a side as a hobby. So, I'm going to kind of take it back a little bit, because I know we talked about this before, and your musical pursuits, as they were kind of set aside for a long time while you build experience and families. And so if you could just bring maybe our viewers up to speed on kind of where the musical side of your personality and life come from, and how it's been reinserted back in your life over the last number of years, and kind of what it's meant.
Yeah, the music has always been a huge part of my life for my entire life. I grew up learning to play the guitar, doing lessons, and having the that type of approach to being introduced to how I play and what I play. Always been a fan of music and live performance, seeing every concert I could see growing up. And that's, that was going to school for me too. Life gets to a point where you have to make decisions and to be responsible and to do what you need to do. At the point of life when I graduated from university, I was very interested in entering the automotive industry and coming into the family business. So I did put the music, really put it completely on off to the side, so that I had total focus and ability to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And after a number of years, I realized, something's missing. It's not all there. I'm very happy and with what I've achieved by that point, and was very, very involved in so many different things in the industry. But I realized there was something inside that I had parked that I needed to find back again. And actually, Marnie, she bought us for our anniversary a number of years ago, 14 years ago or so. She bought tickets to, it was a concert. CBC was putting on this songwriter series, and it had Ian Tyson and Jim Cuddy. And it was basically, if you remember Laurie Brown back from the New Music days, a huge fan of hers as an interviewer and a journalist. And she basically sat on a couch with them on the stage, asked them questions about their inspirations, their songwriting style, etc. And then one of them would get up, play a song. It'd be Four Strong Winds by Ian Tyson, or 5 Days in May by Jim Cuddy. And then they would sit down and they talk about what drove them or inspired them to write those songs. And I remember sitting there that night, and this was right around the time that I knew I had a bunch of music I had written previously, but I parked it all. That night, sitting there listening, I realized, you know what? Everything they're saying, I feel, and I know I can do. I just haven't put the energy back into it. And that next day, I got up, and the journey started. The journey restarted again, and the rest is history. We now have 3 albums out. We have a recording studio. We have 2 other artists on our label with our own band. We have a 6-piece band, as well as Marnie and I perform as a solo duo as well. So it's fully into our lives again, but very much in balance with the strong focus that I still have with with the automotive industry and my commitment to my business.
Sure. One of the things that struck me is, that part of, many aspects of the automotive aftermarket is the entrepreneurialism, that drives people. And I think in one of my communications with you, I said, this is an important part. Even as I look at it, it's not, you're not escaping from business to go play your music, because you've turned it into a business aspect of business life for yourself too. So it's talk a little bit about the music business and how it differs and how it helps maybe inform some of your decisions on the automotive side.
Yeah, that's a great question, because they are completely different industries, but there's so much from each that really complements the other. Primarily the years of experience in business that I have coming into the automotive side really helps with the strategic planning and the organization and just the structure. The music industry, and I'm generalizing, I mean, there's some very, very structured and organized ventures out there, and bands and people, but generally speaking, there's a lot more emotion in that industry, and not so much structure. So I think what's really brought a lot of success to us is having that foundation to really, it is such a passion, and it does come from inside, but you still need total structure to achieve what you want to achieve. And vice versa with music to business. I think it brings that creativity that so often with business, we get conformed to spreadsheets and analytics and the regular business conversations where we park the creativity or even the emotion. There's good emotion and there's bad emotion. The good emotion, it brings that into the fold to, I think, really think things differently, to be much more creative. And they both really kind of, support each other to take things to a different level.
Sure, sure. I just give you a little bit of housekeeping that I neglected to do at the beginning of this. Just to mention anybody who's partaking in this during the live session. There's a couple of ways you can interact with our guests. There's a Q&A that we can do. There's a chat feature on Zoom, and there's also, if you have a question you want to ask live, just speak. You can put your hand up, as they say, and then I can unmute you, and you can just ask it live. We had some of that participation in our last apprenticeship session, but I just wanted to mention that before we went any farther along. Now, one of the aspects of the current time that we're living in, there's a lot of stresses on people. I know the AIA did some research that said that the concern over the stress levels of managers and over their staff was really a key concern for businesses during this period. So this is, maintaining balance is really important. But I'm going to ask, since we have you, Marnie, it's going back to it, since this aspect of both of your lives got reopened and an opportunity to re-explore it, have you seen, what kind of positive changes have you seen in both Steve and in your own overall lives?
Well, that's a great question too. I think we've seen, definitely the music has brought out a balance and a relaxed side of Steve, and a more, from the family's perspective, a more intimate and personal side, and a focus on being able to literally balance and park work at work when it needs to be, but also be re-engaged and ready to go when it's time to get back into the office and tend to things. So it definitely has brought a lot of balance to Steve's personality, and not that he wasn't before, but it's added that back in, right? And I think all of us within the household notice it, and it's something for us as a family. When reintroducing music has added balance for all of us, because in an indirect way and a direct way, sometimes we all participate in it. So
Right.
I've re-engaged in music, and I hadn't for a long time. Both of our daughters are really keen on using the studio and jumping in and recording with us and singing, and it's inspired some, like, daddy-daughter time that didn't happen before in that particular realm. So music is something we all share together, and it's definitely brought balance to our lives as a family.
Yeah. Now, from a standpoint of the kinds of conversations that you have with people in the industry, Steve, does this come up now? Do people talk to you about it? Are they looking? Are they asking you the kinds of questions I'm asking, or it's like, how do you do this? How do you manage to do these things? It's a pretty ongoing, pretty active affair just to run a jobbing business. Never mind having a label and your own musical creations.
Yeah, it does. It comes up on both sides quite a bit, actually. And, I think my answer normally is, if you got a clear vision of what you want to achieve, and number one, you're going on passion for both. So as long as you got two things in your life, I believe you can accomplish anything, because it's passion that's driving both avenues. But if you're well organized, you got a clear vision, and you really know where you need to go and what you need to do, and you share that, and you keep constantly updating it, you can accomplish so much more than what you can accomplish. I think the key is also, if we really feel like we are strong in one, like if I felt my successes in the automotive industry were as strong as they can be, and I'm having the success that I want to have, it gets very easy to get complacent and to not step outside of that box, to really test yourself every day. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more humbling and testing than stepping on a stage in front of a whole bunch of people to share music that you've written that's very personal, very passionate, very transparent. I'll tell you, it makes you feel alive. It really does make you step outside of what you are just so comfortable doing all day, every day. And then that in turn fuels that thing that you're doing every day again, because you've got that energy from it.
Would you recommend it for others to find something and to really pursue it to the maximum? I mean, a lot of folks have little hobbies, and that's what they call them, hobbies. But this is so much more than that, right?
Yeah, I think it's unique to who you are as a person. I am a pretty driven person. If I do put my mind on something, I always want to take it to where I know I can take it the best that I can do it. So it's not just going out and, I mean, I love to golf. I got a motorcycle. I love to motorcycle ride. So I've got hobbies, but they're hobbies. I'm not going out to be on the senior PGA tour or anything like that. You know, like that's not a reality. You got to be realistic with your goals too. This was a reality. I saw what I could do with this, with what I had, with the business end of it. And Marnie, I mean, I'm saying I a lot. Marnie's such a huge part of this, in supporting and her ideas and her partnership and all this. But I mean, it's unique to the individual. There's so many people that don't even just go out and hit that golf ball if it's the passion, because they're not making the time for it. They're buried in their one thing is too important. And I think that's the key. Something always has to be as important as it absolutely has to be successful and to be the best it can be, but it can be too important too. So if you do find that passion, whether you take it to be another business that complements or just a hobby, make sure you find that, because if not, I mean, it's as unhealthy as you can be if you don't have that to help you balance.
Sure. One of the aspects that occurred to me in, again, this very unusual kind of environment that we're dealing with right now is that while one side of your business life was deemed essential, the other side, as far as a performing musician and performing artist goes, was deemed closed. How did you deal with that? Because that's shutting off a part of your world, but it also kind of pushed you to look at some other technological kind of solutions to that too. So maybe let's explore that a little bit. I mean, how have you been able to pivot on that front?
Yeah, the in the music world right now, I mean, it's a changing of the guard. There's a big change in how the music industry operates today. And to me, that's really exciting, because we're at the stage of life we're at, where we've been responsible in our life to have the careers we have to support when things are in situations like this. There's a redefining of remuneration. There's a redefining of how everything's working with the way that the internet has taken over the world and how people really experience music today. It's not going out and standing in line at Sam the Record Man on release day for that album you've been waiting for 3 months. There's 3 million songs released on Spotify today that are all brand new. So, I mean, you're inundated. So I guess from that, it's exciting to be there, but also not relying 100% on it makes it that much more rewarding. And with COVID happening and shutting down, I mean, there's so many artists that are really so severely financially affected and emotionally, because performing it is necessary if you do this, and you got to let it out. And I think because we can fall back on other areas, we're not feeling the need that we have to do those performances to put food on the table, which really makes it a lot easier. So it's allowed us to, everything we do is what we say with our artists on the label and everything. It's only about the music. The business structure's there, and we'll make it what it can be, but we're not going to have unreal false expectations of results. So it's given us even more time to not worry about preparing for the performances and everything else, but we've been able to focus on, we've got another album almost all ready to get back in the studio to record with our band when we can get together. But we've been doing our legwork, getting all that in place for when the world's back to normal. I've been able to write a fair bit more and be in that creative space without all the distraction. So that type of things. And then now we're thinking about doing some live streaming and some performances like that once the world slows down a little bit. Because the automotive side has been essential, it really has taken 80% of my focus. It hasn't taken, it's needed, and it's been welcome because to be there to make sure we're doing everything 100% right for our team and for our customers and our business. That's been so much of the focus. So once again, it kind of complemented that this world kind of slowed down so I could focus a lot more on that world at this time.
Right, right. Have you found that, because, you know, you had touched on this, that it's very much the way that you pursue the musical side, whether it's just with Marnie or with your larger group, that this collaborative aspect of the music business, have you seen that maybe from that perspective and said, hey, you know, I realize I've been doing this in the way we've been looking at Parry Automotive as well, and vice versa?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my business experience and my automotive industry experience, you know, growing up in this industry and being part of it, like for 30 plus years of being with AIA, being on committees, being with Modern Sales Cooperative, chairman of the board for a number of years, very collaborative with boards of directors in those relationships, with my team. All those experiences have lent so much assistance to being collaborative, because especially in the band aspect, you know, I write the songs and bring them to the band, and then we work collaboratively on the arrangements. And, you know, you watch any Netflix or YouTube documentary on the bands that you grew up listening to, and you can really see the dynamics of why bands lasted and why they didn't. It all was, I mean, I bet you such a large percentage of the failures were because of failure of collaboration, failure of knowing how to work together. And I owe all that to what I learned in growing up in this industry and with the people. I mean, I've worked with so many. We've worked, you mentioned at the intro, how long we've known each other and being on different committees and stuff together, but so many people that I've learned from and been inspired by over the years in this industry that has really helped on that side of things.
Yeah, for sure. So I haven't had any questions from the attendees, and I don't want to, you know, belabor the point too much on this, but it would seem to be remiss of us not to end this session with something at least a little bit musical. Are you set up to do something for us?
Well, I got my guitar behind us here. If I'm not sure what the sound quality or anything will be like, but hey, we'll. As I say, when you're performing, you just put yourself out there. So
exactly.
Technology.
I want to thank you for doing this, and thank you for putting up with us here too. And you know, while Steve just throws the guitar on there, one of the things I just wanted to mention is that, you know, for me, music is an important aspect of my life. Not nearly as important as it is for Steve, you know, in running a business on it as well, but. For anybody out there who is looking for something to fill a space, whether it be through music, maybe it's digging into something, an aspect of your world that you've set aside, especially during these times, you know, you may find that that's really going to help be an outlet for you. And I highly recommend it. It's important to take care of your personal well-being in addition to the business that can take so much of your time. And with that, I'll just let Steve and Marnie play us out. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us today.
All right, thanks Andrew. Appreciate the time. I'm gonna play actually just like a brand new song I've written during this pandemic. It actually came from thoughts just before. In the automotive industry, obviously, we have to be very aware today, more so than we ever have, with climate change and everything going on. And I was really inspired by Greta Thunberg over the past couple years, of this 16-year-old that has just had this passion and confidence and to stand up to the bullies in the world and really talk about what needs to be done. And so I started writing a song that was inspired by all that, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and I just kind of put this together with the correlation of the two together. It's called Greta's Lament. Wait to watch the late night news. A bunch of biased point of views. How much do we need to hear? Just enough to raise a little fear. We get notifications by the hour, updates on the misuse of power. I don't know what's really going on. Can we face the facts and right all this wrong? Will we run away or just let go? Choose what's right, but I don't know. Lying down ain't easy anymore. See the floods are coming, yeah, they're already here. Can hear them saying the end is near. Grad is trying to take us to the shore. Well, we all know who Greta is, right? She's the prophet of the nature one. And she was sent to help us recover. And a message that our house is on fire is what she delivered. Pretty simple, but there's a lot to be considered. And then a bunch of self-righteous politicians, all who were bitter. Well, they tried to belittle her. Yeah, and Mother Nature did not like that. So Mother Nature put us all in detention. And divine intervention with the hope for ascension. That's right. With the hope that we will rise up, rise up. In no more ignorance or belligerence or defiance, only in alliance, that we will hope for compliance. We will find resiliency. Yeah, all for the good of you and me. And for our kids. And for the kids of our kids. For the kids of our kids of our kids. So, what will it be? Will we run away or just let go? Choose what's right, well, I don't know. Lying down ain't easy anymore. No, lying down ain't easy anymore. If we listen close, we'll hear the storm. Open our eyes and see clouds before. We're all breathing the same air. There's gonna be enough for us to share. Will we run away? Just let go. Choose what's right. Well, I don't know. Lying down ain't easy anymore. Oh, lying down ain't easy anymore. You cannot hide behind the open door. So let's show them what it is we're fighting for. Let's show them what it is we're dying for. Let's show them all what it is we're living for. Oh, lying down ain't easy anymore. Lying down ain't easy anymore.